What's going on, Central? Hope you're having a good week so far. It's Pastor Evan and I, Andrew. We're back again with another midweek little talk podcast. I don't know, whatever we're calling this thing.
Yeah, man. I've enjoyed, just catching up on the scripture that we're going through, kind of thinking back from the week past, and then
Absolutely.
just looking forward as we head into the text for the week, this upcoming Sunday. So
Yeah,
it's been good.
Really the goal for just these little short videos, just kind of give you guys, like you said, a glimpse of where we were talking this past Sunday and kind of prep for this Sunday. So looking back on this Sunday, we kind of finished out 1 Peter 1. Mm-hmm. What were some of kind of your main thoughts going into that sermon? Again, you're the one who's preaching this thing. So you should know.
Yeah. I think it's such a refreshing reminder, right, that we are children of God, but that means we're called to be obedient children of God. And obviously, he's taken this turn from the intro portion of the letter. He's now beginning to say, okay, here's some things that we're called to be doing. We had some heavier stuff on Sunday, talked about holy living, be holy as I am holy is what that scripture text said.
Sounds impossible.
And in some sense, right, on this earth, it is, right? But it doesn't mean that that's an excuse, kind of that Paul word, don't continue to live in your sin. That was one of the passages we talked about. Like we have to be engaged in this process that's going on. And it was good.
And I think too, we were just talking about this a moment before we kind of got on here, going into chapter 2, which is kind of where we're heading into this Sunday. It's almost like just one big kind of continuation of where kind of what we were talking about at the end of chapter 1 there. Yeah,
you got to remember that these chapter markings and verses aren't in the original text, right? Yeah. They were added for us to be able to get to places and spots easily. And so, as you pick up chapter 2, it starts with therefore, as we learned last week.
Yes.
Why is it therefore? Tell
me.
It's just this continuation of that conversation about what we are called to and who we are called to be, and how we are called to really participate in this active becoming. Around here at Central, we use that terminology a lot, that we're becoming more like Christ with each passing day. And that's a process.
Absolutely.
It's not I made the decision one time and now I'm good to go. Yeah. I'm a continual work in process.
Yeah. And I think we kind of talked about this last week too, that day by day kind of mentality of you're going to wake up every day and have to make a decision. Hey, what am I doing? Am I going to follow the Lord today? Am I going to be doing the things that he wants me to do? There's a lot of language in this second chapter, if you guys read it this week, that, I think it pretty much starts first off, hey, throw off all of this stuff. Mm-hmm. Stop doing all of these things.
Get rid of it.
Get rid of it. And I think there's one translation that says clean out your house, which I just think is great, and, it talks a lot about the living stone, referencing Jesus. And it also says, hey, you also as a living stone. And when I read that, I was like, man, I don't feel like we're just called to just kind of sit in this little, thing that God is building, but we're called to be active in what God is doing, not just in our life, but the life of the church, the life of the people around us. And man, what does that look like for us? I don't know. That's different for each person, I think.
As I prepped this week and as I'm looking ahead in the text, this week, obviously the whole first chapter I had a lot of it. These 10 verses in chapter 2 here really start to unpack a lot of really powerful imagery that's coming from Old Testament into New. Yeah. And even that conversation about, the cornerstone, just how much of that is connecting, the old and the new, and that Jesus is the chief cornerstone, and the cornerstone of a building was significant, even more so that we understand. Obviously today, if you take a house and you start with one block on the house and you don't set it
perfectly,
right,
it's level.
The whole house is off a little bit one way or another. We can catch that idea, but back then, the cornerstone was vital to the structure and what was trying to be accomplished. And that language is just so powerful. And there's all kinds of these little moments where if we're just reading the text without that background understanding, we can miss out. So, for me, it's just dude, there's so much here.
Absolutely.
I feel like a little bit like we're just going to start skimming the surface on Sunday about what God is teaching us in these 10 verses.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. And like you heard Pastor Evan say, there's a lot that we're going to get into on Sunday. So come prepared,
Yes.
Read the verses, be prepared ahead of time, kind of have that mentality of, hey, I'm going to do my homework, so to speak.
Yeah.
I'm going to get in the Word during the week, not just on a Sunday.
Amen.
And be ready for what we have going on Sunday in 1 Peter chapter 2. So
yeah, I definitely encourage you guys, get in it. 1 Peter 2, first 10 verses, that's where we're headed into. And, I love, and I kind of in our conclusion of this, the one thing that has stuck out to me at the end is the identity conversation that is there. And the reminder, right? Peter is so good. It's almost like Peter, it's just like this run-on sentence for Peter. And he keeps coming back to some of these same things, and he steps back after some hard stuff again here in chapter 2. He steps back in those last 2 verses, 9 and 10, reminding us of who we are through the finished work of Jesus.
Absolutely.
So it's going to be a fun Sunday. I'm looking forward to it. Hope you are as well.
Eric better sing Cornerstone. I hope he does.
Oh man, you might be onto something right there.
Is that too cheesy? Maybe.
Nah,
it's okay.
Yeah,
we'll
we're
see
excited.
you Sunday.
See you then.